Totally embrace the greatness of who you are, the brilliance of who you are, because you really do have a lot of gifts and skills. The more that you do embrace yourself, the more you can be of service to others. And totally to recognize there really is good reason to know you are so worthy and so deserving.
Hey everyone, this is Kim O'Neill from the Every Day's a New Day podcast and live show, and you're listening to the Going North podcast with the hilarious DomBrightmon. Be sure to subscribe to his show so you don't miss any episodes, and remember, every day is always a new day.
Today's episode is sponsored by both books, Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself, and the follow-up bestseller, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. Head over to Amazon.com, pick up both books. They are available in a trifecta of paperback, audio, and ebook. Cop all three of both and be on the lookout for another book from yours truly to help podcasters succeed. Now let's get on with today's episode. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, is the Going North podcast. And we got another super special, awesome human for you today, courtesy of Podmatch.com, where podcast guests get to connect with podcast hosts. And if they're cool, they're freaking in. And today's guest is cooler than 5 cucumbers. And you're probably like, Dom, what the heck, man? You usually say cooler than 2 cucumbers. Why is today's guest 5? Well, my goodness, like rare occasion where you do your homework on the guests and hear them speak, and then you're like in a trance by default. It's like she's a walking freaking halo, and she's got random. I don't even know. I don't know if it's magic or freaking what, but it's like I had to over here an interview over again from start to finish again because she had me in a trance. It's like, what the heck? Because today's guest in particular, not only is she a wonderful author, she's also a wonderful coach, a speaker, a Reiki Master, and trainer, as well as a certified professional coach, inspiring and assisting others to shine their authentic light. So let's give it up for the angelic, stupendous, and heavenly, the wonderful Kate Heartsong. How you doing today, Kate?
Oh, thank you, Dom. I'm doing fantastic and so wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me. And what beautiful words you're sharing about my angelic and calming energy. I've been told that many, many times over the years, and yet, you know, I certainly have a lot to say, and I won't be putting the audience to sleep. So.
Oh no, don't worry. I didn't fall asleep. I was just in a freaking trance. I'm like, shit.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's what you
Like you freaking transported me mentally to a freaking meadow. I'm like, what kind of magic is this?
No magic, and definitely not intended. But it's a good trance, right?
It freaking was. I'm like, man, I could listen to you talk all freaking day, and I rarely say that about the guests. But my goodness, as with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 97 days long. I probably only covered, I guess maybe 9 hours of what you actually do. So mine filling us in on who is the super special, awesome Kate the Great herself, since it's your first time here on the podcast.
Yeah, and such a joy to be here. Well, you know, I am an author, very passionate about what I do. Shall I share a little story about how I became an author?
Oh, of course.
Yes, okay. Well, you know, I'd say it's been about 25 years ago, while I was doing my meditation practice, I recognized one day a particularly deep meditation. I was like sensing these words, profound wisdom that was coming through, and I was drawn to grab a pen and paper, and I started writing word for word what was given to me. And I call it automatic writing. And gosh, at first I did not believe it was really real. I thought, oh, maybe it was my ego. How could this be? But then, you know, in time, the beautiful words kept coming during meditation, and I started accepting them and started believing, hey, maybe this is really happening. And the words were so wise. And so over time, I got these amazing bits and pieces of information that ended up being my first book, Deeply We Are One. I knew that this information was not to be just for me, but to be shared with others. And so I never thought of myself as an author. I never imagined it. As a little kid, I thought I might be a ballerina dancer or, something, but never a writer. But it's come through naturally, and I feel really honored to be the messenger. And then a few years later, the same thing happened over time, getting profound wisdom that was so loving. All of this is so loving. And that became my second book, Humanity's Cry for Change. And the subtitle of that is Actions You Can Take to Create a New Earth. And again, it's like, wow, this is like too good for me to keep to myself. I've got to share it with the world. So that's how I became an author.
That's what I'm talking about. Indeed, that's what I'm talking about. Indeed. It's kind of funny how that works. It's like, oh yeah, writing a book. Like, yeah, that sounds freaking amazing. That is so not me. Like, not in my realm
Yeah.
of influence. Not of nowhere.
Yeah,
Nope.
really.
It actually is. Surprise.
Yeah, it actually is a surprise. Oh, this is your life path. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I love it. I do. I'm meant for it. And that's why I love doing the coaching as well, because I've learned from my personal experience of like a traumatic childhood. I was able to transcend that. And it's given me the passion to really empower people to know it really is possible to make positive change. It may not be easy, it doesn't happen overnight, but I'm living proof, that it is possible. And Dom, that's exactly where my passion comes from. And I've been blessed to support people, my clients, audiences, doing podcasts, public speaking. So I love it. I just love it, and love seeing people getting uplifted and getting hope.
I could definitely say that again. Yes, indeed. And sadly, I know what you're referring to about the rough childhood too, because if I'm not
Mm,
mistaken, some evil person did that when you were two, sadly. And it's a
mm.
blessing that you're able to still live and get past that. So, my goodness, what helped you to really find strength with dealing with that tragedy and living with that?
Absolutely. I think the turning point in my life was I was just so anxious all the time and really down and no self esteem and no self confidence. And I saw people out there, like they seemed happy, they seemed to be confident. I was such a people pleaser then, and I still have a little bit of that today. Not as much, but I think my turning point was starting around my years after college. And I started taking a lot of self-help books, reading self-help books, taking workshops. I had psychotherapy that really helped to release some of the trauma I went through. And gosh, I didn't even know of something that happened until I did that psychotherapy. And it was a wonderful release, and it gave me so much hope and so much transformation. And it took a number of years, but over time, I became more and more confident, and not in a way that I think I'm feeling better or I mean, better than other people, but more that I'm confident in myself and in my gifts and skills. And I got to get to know myself more, and I started liking myself more. And so then oh gosh, I think it was about 12 or 13 years ago, I realized I was done with accounting. That was my career for 25 years. And I'm like, I am not meant to be an accountant anymore. And so I left my job. Actually, they laid me off. It was a blessing. I was so scared at first to quit, but my inner guidance told me to leave, but I didn't leave. So then the universe gave me, you know what that is, that old 2x4 on the head. And so I'm like, oh, there it is again. Oh, I'm not listening to my intuition. So the universe is going to do it for me. So I did. I that gave me the impetus to become a certified coach. And then I decided my niche is to be a confidence coach. So that's what I do. I help people to raise their confidence or any other areas to, just dealing with life. And a lot of it does have to do with confidence. So I think it was just my being so tired of not being happy and being anxious. That was the impetus to make change in my life. And I was blessed to have a lot of good people around me to help me as well. And so, yeah, I can't say there was one thing in particular, but I'd say several things. The anxiousness and just wanting a shift in my life and making a change and witnessing other people being happy and, hey, how come I'm not happy? So, yeah, it's been a good journey. I really learned a lot from it.
Uh, so indeed, it's good to learn from stuff. Indeed, definitely good. Learn from stuff while you're on your journey. Indeed. So my goodness, what led to the last name Heartsong? Indeed, I hear that's your end name. What helped you to decide on that?
Good question. I was in, again, meditation, gosh, probably about 15, oh, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. And I was like, I don't want to publish a book in my legal name. I want something different. And, Spirit gave it to me. I heard the word heart song and it really resonated. That's how I came up with it. Yeah. It feels like a parallel to my life, singing my heart song, doing what I'm meant to do to help others.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, my goodness, so pouring out your heart and all this other wonderful smooth jazz and having the confidence to do so. So, my goodness, you got two books out there, if I'm not mistaken, right? Two of them,
Yeah.
or is it? Alrighty. So, my goodness, how was the process like, especially with the most recent one, indeed, all about helping out humanity?
It was quite a process. Truth be told, this is such a demonstration of my passion to do this work. And I'm so guided because, oh my gosh, it took so many spiral notebooks that I would handwrite and automatic writing. And then I would go through and type it. And I have become a really fast typist as a result. So many pages and pages and pages and pages to type up, and that gave me a sense of like being with the material, and it was a nice way to get in touch with it. And then I had it professional. Oh, wait. So then I'm like, oh, the hardest part, Dom, was, oh my gosh, it did not come to me sequentially. So I had this topic here and that topic here. And then I'm like, how am I going to put this whole book together? And you can imagine in my dining room, I have a big wood floor, and I had all these things typed up, all the passages typed up. And then I'm trying to remember, oh yeah, this is about oneness. Oh, and then that topic is an exercise that a person can do to help themselves. And how am I going to organize this? And I don't have any idea how many hours I spent, but as a result, I put it together, and oh my gosh, oh, I wish I could show you this picture. All of my spiral notebooks that then turned into this amazing book. And it seems to flow really well. I had it professionally edited and I meditated on it. And how shall I present this? And so back in July 2020, I published it. It was interesting because I had it all ready to go, but my guidance was not to publish it until the year 2020, which is, of course, the pandemic. And I'm like, why would I wait to do this? But Spirit is guiding me to like wait until the pandemic. And that's when I published it. I'm like, oh my goodness, what timing. So I've had it out a couple years, and I'm just really excited about sharing the message that really can help people to have hope that there really is possibility that we can make positive change in our lives. And when we do that, we help humanity. So I can tell you more about the book if you want, but
Sounds like someone's itching to do so. Go on ahead, tell us about humanity's cry for help because we gonna need it.
yeah, it's okay. Well, a lot of people are in deep pain and they want relief. So they're ready for change. And we are actually right in the midst of an evolutionary leap, going from the old age of Pisces, which has been dominated by competitiveness and thinking that we're separate from each other, and male dominance and inequality, and not recognizing that everyone is connected and everyone is the same. And now we're transitioning right in between the Pisces age, right into the new age of Aquarius, which is represented by the beautiful qualities of recognizing that everyone is equal and that men and women are equal. We are all one connected. There's collaboration, there's respect, there's kindness, there's love, instead of all the competitiveness and aggression. But in order to get there, we have got to dismantle the old systems. So the book explains what systems have to get dismantled. And I'm sure, Dom, you're recognizing that there's a lot of things that are getting dismantled, and all the shifts and all the chaos happening on the planet. And so this book so beautifully and simply describes what's happening and what can we do then to better navigate. So there's a lot of exercises in there to help us. Like one example is how we can raise our vibration. And in doing so, we can feel better. And then we are also adding to the collective consciousness, and that can help. And what I'm really, I'm so touched by the profound message that when one person does their own individual work, we can make change. Because imagine if it's 100 people or 100,000 people or even 1,000,000 or 2,000,000 people doing their own personal work. We feel better and we can live in more alignment with who we truly are and better give our gifts to others. And in doing so, we also add positive to the collective consciousness. So I call myself an eternal optimist for that reason. I really believe there's hope for that very reason. When so many of us come together and awaken and do this work, we really can make change. So there's a couple other profound concepts in it, but I'll leave it at that for now.
Hey, it's all good. It's definitely all good indeed. Because, yeah, a lot of dismantling going on. It's, we're totally not in Kansas anymore, even
Yeah.
those living in Kansas.
Well said.
Oh, man. So, my goodness. We'll be getting this book in audio too, because it's kind of a disservice at this point with that voice of yours not to do audio.
Yeah, it actually will be in audio. How did you know that? Um,
Sweet. Good. That's what I'm talking about. Hooray. Alrighty.
yeah, you read my mind. Actually, probably within the next month, maybe 2 months, it will also be in audio. Not in my voice, though, but a woman who's reading it.
Oh.
Oh, I know. I should have done it in my own voice, but she's got a very calming voice. She is such a good match for reading this book. And I think you'll love it. Yeah. She's really got a calming voice like I do.
Okay. Ah,
Yeah.
Disappointment City. Ah. I was like, I was hoping you'd read it yourself now.
Yeah.
No offense to her, I don't even know who she is. Like, I should be carried
Yeah.
reading it. Darn it. But hey, it's definitely all good. Definitely all good. Indeed. So my goodness. So in this wonderful age where, or some may say wonderful, man, it feels not so wonderful. Like for those who want to raise their consciousness nowadays, when a lot of folks are probably now more impatient than ever, among many other things. Like what can help folks really raise their consciousness to be more grateful and just realize the good that's still happening on the earth?
Absolutely. Excellent question. There are many ways we can raise our consciousness. One is what you already mentioned, having gratitude. It's huge. There's so many things happening in our life. And if we can focus on the good, it actually helps us to create more good. So I always suggest to my clients and audiences to go ahead and focus perhaps even only two or three or five things to list every day that we can be grateful for. It could be as simple as, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful my computer works. Earlier before I came on with you, I had a meeting, Dom, and my computer has never done this before. It didn't have video. And I'm like, why is the camera not working? So after I was done with that meeting, I shut my computer completely off and turned it back on and like, oh, I'm so grateful the camera's working again. And that gratitude just feels so good. Or how about having gratitude for the water that comes out of our faucet? And gratitude that we can get out of bed and we can work. So there's so many things to be grateful for. Another way we can raise our consciousness. I know you probably know this very well, and your audience does too. But that's meditation. Meditation is huge to raise our consciousness. But we don't have to sit in a chair quiet to do meditation. We can take a walk in nature, being so focused on the beauty or just focused on being present moment with how does the air feel against our skin, or aware of the feet on the ground as we walk. And that can bring us into higher consciousness. Another thing we can do for higher consciousness is do the inner work. If there's some upset or something that triggers us, if you're willing, do your inner work. Now, it could be something that doesn't take much time, or it could be a huge thing. There's a full spectrum of different things that people need to deal with. But if we can deal with the stuff inside of us that's been painful or that triggers us, when we work through that, it huge release of energy from our physical beingness and our etheric beingness helps us to raise our consciousness. We actually become lighter energetically, if that makes sense, you know? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right indeed. That's right
Yeah.
indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it does help. Doing the inner work may take time, but I'm living proof. Like I mentioned, I did a lot of work to release the old stuff, old shame, all that stuff. And energetically, I'm lighter and I'm able to get into higher vibration and higher consciousness. Let's see, another thing we can do for, excellent way to raise our consciousness is being mindful and aware. Just living in mindfulness and living in the present moment. That is so powerful. You know, if I'm finding myself overwhelmed, like it's easy when we get too busy in the course of the day and life is so busy, just stop and pause and be aware. How does it feel sitting in the chair? What's the air against my skin? Or, you know, am I having a conversation with someone? Am I being totally present, hearing what they're telling me? So mindfulness is key. And again, it brings us into that present moment. And that is an incredible way to have higher consciousness. So those are some examples.
That's right indeed. And she's walking, living proof indeed. That's right indeed. Doing that wonderful inner work, being in a higher level of consciousness herself. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. She's got that feather light swag. Indeed. You love to feel it. That's right, indeed. You love to feel it, indeed. So, my goodness, so since you're a decorated coach representing many industries and a way in helping folks to advance in more ways than one, my goodness, what's probably been the biggest lesson, or heck, maybe even there's been more than one? Like, what has been the major lesson you learned from your clients that made you a better coach?
A major lesson I've learned from my clients as a coach. Another wonderful question. You know, I think what I've learned from them is their their brilliance. Every single person is so unique and has a unique combination of gifts and skills, along with a unique combination of problems and challenges. And I have learned that even though their situation sometimes might be really serious or really sad, that they have a lot of resilience. And I so honor and respect and love to see the resilience and the willingness that they have. So I have learned for myself, yes, resilience is key and perseverance is key. And also another thing I've learned is the vast variety of of the uniqueness that each person has. It's just fascinating to see the mode of operation that each of my clients has, and they can be so very different. And I have learned, and I love that I do this, and every coach should do this. In fact, everyone should do this, and that is to not have any judgment. The biggest thing I have learned, well, another big thing is they're going through what they're going through, and then who the heck am I to make a judgment on what they're going through? What lesson are they to learn? And how are they to learn it? So I come from a very much of a place of no judgment, even though it may be difficult for me to see how they operate in their life. I know that's their mode of operation, and that's how they're accustomed to living. And yes, they're showing up to me to get the work so that they can improve an area of their life. But again, who am I to make a judgment on the mode of operation and how they show up and what they're to learn? So I've learned a lot of I guess it really, Dom, as I speak about it, and again, a wonderful question. As I speak about it, I really realize that I think it's even helped me to make me even less judgmental as I continue working, having the respect and the kindness and the honoring of every person and how they show up. Just like, I never really thought of it that way. Yeah.
There you go. That's right, indeed. Name of the game is showing up without a gavel, y'all. That's right, indeed. That's right. Leave the gavel on the fireplace if you got one. That's right, and leave, or maybe even leave the gavel in the courtroom. That's right, indeed. No judgment, danggummit. That's right. That's right, indeed. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. There's definitely one heck of a place to be, indeed, as a coach. Because, hey, it's true. It's like really just trying to help folks to really get to their next level, solve some problems, and help them to realize, hey, you are your own best solution. You know the answer. We just got to dig it out of you.
Yes, yes, yes. So true. Yeah, and that's what the beauty of coaching is. Yeah, it helps gain clarity on, well, what's right for the client, because I don't tell them what to do. But again, as you well know, as a coach, to share the and ask profound or clarifying questions so they can gain the answers because they are the experts on their life. So and it is so rewarding to see when they have that light bulb turn on, bing, it's just wonderful to see that. Very gratifying.
Hooray! That's right, indeed. The gratifying light bulbs all day. You love to see it. You love to see it, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, I got an audiobook coming out. Still disappointed it's not you reading it, but hey, got the audiobook version coming out. Indeed. Anything else you're excited for 2023?
I am very excited. Thank you. I'm going to be doing more public speaking in person. I do love these podcasts. And again, thank you. I love being here with you, Dom. And I've done many podcasts last year, and I'm going to continue with that. But I am also really excited to start speaking in front of audiences again. I really love that. So I'm going to be going out more and more promoting the book. I think there's a lot of people really hungry for wanting to know, and maybe they're just really curious. Why is it we're going through such chaos, even more so than ever on the planet? And so I feel I am an important messenger. And there's so many other great messengers out there as well. I'm not the only one. So all these different messengers are coming out to share with the masses, hey, we've got to make some drastic positive changes, honestly, to save ourselves, to save humanity. And so I feel so honored to be the messenger. So what's exciting for me is, going out and doing more public speaking in person. I'm going to check out some different groups and maybe even book clubs and various venues, and continue also with the podcasts. And I might, depending on where I'm at, I would love to do some workshops. I've done some workshops in the past. So maybe in the fall of this year, I might come up with some workshops that will be very empowering, helping people to know that they can make change. And how can they be kind and gentle with themselves? It'll be a lot around building confidence and just totally embracing the greatness of who they are. Dom, I am so passionate about that. Every single person is so phenomenal. And I want I want a magic wand. The truth is I want a magic wand and put it on everyone's head. And magically they know the brilliance of who they are. Just kind of wishful thinking there, but
Oh, don't worry. Forget the wand. You're walking magic already.
oh. Oh, thank you, thank you. That made my day.
Oh yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness. So going on tour, Kate's going on tour. You'll love to see it. The Heartsong tour, baby. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Giant random hearts singing. You'll love to see it. You'll love to feel it. Hell, not even love to see it and feel it, but also be it indeed. So my goodness. So for those who are looking to start to make a change, any recommendations for small tips to make some changes in their lives right there, wherever they are on the planet?
Yes, yes. Making small changes. And I love how you said that. Making small changes. A person does not need to make a huge change. In fact, it's so much easier if we start with small steps. So here are a couple of really simple tips on how we can make change in our lives. One is, I'm going to go back to that one suggestion of gratitude, because it really helps us to see the glass as half full. And when we focus on something positive, it gets bigger and bigger. And, if we focus on something negative, that gets bigger. So why not look at the positive? So look, having gratitude is key. It helps you to have, like I mentioned, a higher consciousness, and it also helps you to have a bigger heart and to see the blessings that are in your life. So that is one thing, and I recommend at least write down 3 things or think about 3 things every morning. A great way to get started. It sets the tone for a positive way to start. Another key tip is, if you don't meditate already, I would highly recommend meditating, even if it's only 5 minutes a day. Meditation, again, it could be moving or it could be sitting still, but getting that quiet space, it helps to calm the mind. And when we do that, it helps us to feel better, also helps us to be more connected. Another tip that could be very small step. This is huge and powerful. And that is to lovingly and with compassion and with no judgment, lovingly look into the mirror, into your own eyes, and acknowledge yourself or appreciate yourself. This is a powerful exercise. I learned this, probably 30 some years ago, and it really did help me. And I can promise you, for some people, this is easy to do. They could look in their eyes for a few moments or maybe a minute. Others can only look in their eyes maybe for 1 second. You know, I used to be one of those that when I looked in my eyes, I could not look for very long. But because I went through a lot of healing, now I can look in my eyes for a few minutes. I don't spend that much time in the mirror unless I'm putting on my makeup. But the point is, I can look into my soul and I can appreciate myself. This is a huge, huge small step that a person can do to help appreciate themselves. Look at the good within themselves. Let's see what else we can do. That's a small step. Just be kind to yourself and compassionate. Like, often the worst critic we have is our own inner voice, that, critic, putting ourselves down, a huge thing that can be a small step. I know that's kind of oxymoron here, but if we can be in a place of awareness of how we're talking to ourselves, and we can stop if we're beating ourselves up, just acknowledge it, say, oh, there I am beating myself up, and then replace it with a positive word, a positive phrase. And don't beat yourself for beating yourself up. You don't want to beat yourself up for beating yourself up. You just want to be kind. How would you talk to your best friend? How would you talk to your child? Well, talk to yourself the same way. Kindness and compassion goes a long ways, and it really is a simple thing to do. So those are some examples of what we can do. Simple, but powerful.
Woohoo! There you go. That's right indeed. That SBP, baby. You love to see it. The simple but powerful. That's right indeed. Folks love that stuff for the most part indeed. Because, hey, name of the game, if it's simple and easy to do, that means it's good to do. Now, granted, it can be easy not to do, but hey, let's focus on doing it, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's right indeed. You don't have to have fancy curls like Kate. You can always appreciate yourself in the mirror and be like, yep, I am freaking fabulous. That's right indeed. Or be like the host, be like, you're a chocolate Adonis and you'll love to see it. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, so since you've been on a few of these podcast interviews, and I'm pretty sure you got more coming up in the future, or should I say, is there a question that you wish folks would ask you more often when you're on the guest side of the game on these podcasts?
Oh, let's see. A question I would like the podcaster to ask me more. Ah, no, I don't think so. I have usually an opportunity to express my passion and where it came from and various other topics. Thank you for asking. I can't think of anything right now other than the obvious, which you will ask me at the end of, how people can reach me. But, podcasters always ask me that question. So I'm trusting you will. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course, indeed. Heck, any plans on doing any guided meditation audios in the future?
Oh, yes. Actually, that reminds me, I do want to do that in the future. And I also already do have 2 free guided meditations. If a person goes to my website and if they opt in for my monthly e-newsletter, and it's just a very uplifting, empowering e-newsletter once a month. If they opt in, they do get 2 free heartwarming meditations in my voice.
All right, there we go. Now we have a wonderful gang of cherubs floating around people's heads now. Hooray.
Oh, yeah, I have a great sense of visualization. I can see them.
That's right, indeed. We need you to do. You should probably do a whole series of them. That's right, indeed. But make it like for, I guess, Amazon MP3s or something like that. Since sadly CDs aren't seen as current technology. Sadly,
Yeah,
since
yeah.
since they don't put CD players in the cars anymore. Boo. But yeah, that's right, indeed. Need the whole Kate Hart song guided meditation series. That's right, indeed. Put your heart at rest, makes you ready, full of kindness, ready to take on the world. That's right, indeed. You'll have magic without a wand. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, maybe more of that magic with more guided meditations in the future. Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah.
indeed. That's right. When you do it, I'll be your first customer. That's right, indeed. I'll be
Awesome.
your
Thank
first
you. Yes.
customer,
Oh,
indeed.
that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Ah, yes, ma'am, indeed. So, fun question for you. If your fabulous book, Humanity's Cry for Change, if that book were a food, what would it be and why?
If it was food, what would it be? Ah, humanity's cry for change. If it was food, what would it be? Oh, I'm coming up with a huge big cookie. And the cookie has tons and tons of chips. And the chips represent people. And, like chocolate chips and then caramel chips and raisin chips, all kinds of chips, all kinds of colors. Because, first of all, the cookie is round, which represent oneness. And all the chips represents everyone, no matter what color, no matter what culture, no matter what sexual orientation, no matter who. All the chips are representing every single one because every single person is actually of the one. Every person is equal. Every person is united. We are all interconnected. And so this big, big, huge, humongous chocolate chip is representing the wholeness. It represents the oneness. With the cookie dough is sort of like the connector. It's like the ether or the matrix of the all that is. And all the chips, chocolate chips, the whatever color chips, any kind of chips at all, representing all colors, all of everyone, and also represents the earth, and also represents all the plants and animals, everything in this chocolate chip cookie, which is not just chocolate, it's everything. So, excellent question. I love that question. Wow, I never thought of my book as being a chocolate chip cookie. I love it.
I love it too. That means you'll feel chipper after reading it.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to remember that. Indeed, you will be chipper. You're going to get hope and get uplifted and get chipper. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right indeed. It's gonna be one of those extra soft cookies too. That's right
Oh, yeah.
indeed. Get the bite into it. It's gonna be nice and hot and warm.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are the best. Mm, yeah. I may have to
Uh,
go out and get me some of those chocolate chip cookies now. Oh,
You're not a baker by any chance, are you?
yeah. Oh,
uh, it's all good. She baked books. That's right indeed. She's a book baker.
book baker. Absolutely, a book baker. I love it.
That's right indeed. A baker, not a Quaker. You'll love to see. That's right indeed. Gotta say the Quaker for the oats. So, my goodness, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you were to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but you're still in 2023, what advice would you give to yourself?
Totally embrace the greatness of who you are, the brilliance of who you are, because you really do have a lot of gifts and skills. The more that you do embrace yourself, the more you can be of service to others. And totally to recognize there really is good reason to know you are so worthy and so deserving.
That's what I'm talking about. You are deserving indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. With the mighty D, the capital D. That's right
Yeah.
indeed. It's the vitamin we all need. Ha ha.
Yes. Indeed. Yeah.
Uh,
Awesome.
even got you saying indeed now, so the mind control is working.
Yeah, you got it. Indeed. I love it. Yeah. Good to laugh. It's so good to laugh. And you're very good at this. I so appreciate you and how you do this podcast and your humor, your lightness, an incredible gift that you have, Dom.
Oh, well, thank you. Folks like you make this a lot easier.
Yes, yes, that's so true.
So if you wake up in the corn maze tomorrow, you know what happened. It was a bunch of corny jokes that were heard on the interview. That's right.
Yeah, corny is good. What the heck?
Oh. Heck yeah, especially when there's a giant soft chocolate chip cookie at the end of the maze with all the corn. So,
Mm.
my goodness. So, for those who need to keep in contact with you and keep up with your journey, especially when you decide to put out some more wonderful content in the world, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Awesome. Yes. My website, it's called Joyful Radiance. JoyfulRadiance, joyfulradiance.com. And there, yes, you can find my book. You can also find it on Amazon, and you can opt in if you'd like for the 2 free meditations plus a monthly uplifting e-newsletter. And I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, I would be so honored to hear from you, from your guests. It would be awesome.
Woo! Well, there you have it, folks. We're going to put a link to Kate's site in the show notes. That's right, indeed. That joyful radiance, indeed. Because joy is definitely a default when you're around this lady right here. That's right, indeed. Just hearing her speak, joy will ensue. That's right, indeed. Joy will ensue because she's a walking, shining light. You love to see it. You love to see it. That's right, indeed. So be on the lookout for more stuff from Kate the Great herself. Snag those meditations, subscribe to her email list, and buy some copies of her magical books and share it with your friends, family, cat, penguin, dog. Heck, maybe even share it with an iguana. That's right, indeed. Hey, an iguana's on Earth. You could probably get something out of it.
Yeah. I can see that iguana now reading it.
Well, before Chameleon tries to join in on the animal party loving your book, any parting words before we close up shop?
My parting words are this. First and foremost, thank you so much, Dom, for having me here. And I want to let each of your audience members know this, even though I cannot see them, and even though I don't know who they are, I do know this. I absolutely know the brilliance and the amazing people that they are. And I encourage them, each one of you, to truly tap into your knowingness that you really are wonderful. You do make a positive difference. And just be kind and compassionate with yourself. And just know your brilliance. As you do, you will feel better. And then you can also show up and be of service to others if you want. Just honor who you are and live authentically.
If you're hearing this part of the episode, that means you're one cool individual. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, and if you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to share it with at least one other person in your network. Bonus points for 3. And be sure to check out the backlog too while you're at it, because there are hundreds of wonderful episodes to choose from as well.